Today, we will talk about the idea of external transformation. This transformation will happen if you do nothing. It will go from the newborn baby that grows fantastically to becoming a child, then a pre-adolescent, an adolescent, a young adult, and finally an elderly person. The inevitable end of biological life is death, so this will happen. It was a biological programming that we don't need to make an effort. Now, there is another programming, not physical but metaphysical, which is the programming of human consciousness. This programming will only happen if you are willing to do it, if you are willing to build it, because it's an act of will. It's not automatic or given. There is a poet who says that human spring is not cyclical. It occurs whenever human will acts. That is, it does not return automatically just because time turned into human spring. It awakens when the human being is worthy of it. Let's talk about how this story goes of the mind turned upside down or turned upward. It's like a mirror facing the sky or facing the earth. We have the ability to turn our minds, our potential, our attention to the earth, and from this interface with the earth, we develop responses to our material needs. This is not bad. It's a necessity for survival. But if we only have this interface with the earth, these responses sometimes begin to proliferate in an uncontrolled way. There is a very interesting advice. Don't keep looking. Don't be so curious to know what is my main flaw. You know why? Because if you have one, you have them all potentially, just favorable circumstances. Be careful. If you're a very choleric person, take care, because 1 hour you can become violent, envious, or jealous. That means a mirror turned downwards, and you have no control over it, depending on the earth where you rotate. If we have this mirror turned upwards, we have the ability to see the ideal human, to see in a more abstract way values, virtue, wisdom. If you have a virtue, it is likely that you have all potentially. This is very logical. So, if you have a vice, work with it. If you don't have much control over your character, take care to build it as a human being who has the greatest self-control, greater self-knowledge, and self-mastery. Know yourself and dominate yourself, because, otherwise, depending on the circumstance, no one knows what may arise. So, the lack of control branches out to many things, and control, this verticalization of the human being, also branches out to many things. A virtue brings all the others as potential. In this artificial demarcation we made of a small set of organic matter, temporary, very fleeting, we said this is me, and limit our identity, capable of being everything. We made it just a little pile. We made it a small surface of organic matter, and we want everything for this little cluster, as if it were the most important thing in the world. This alienation called self-affirmation or selfishness. Tibet calls it the heresy of separateness, when you see the world through this little self who wants everything, who desires everything, and who thinks he was born to be pampered by everyone, and who is the center of the universe. This relationship between me and the object will always be a relationship of desire, of a dominant self, self-affirmative and selfish, and potentially conflictive, because the issue of selfishness is potentially effective. So, this relationship of a mirror turned downwards is of this little self with things always I want, I desire, it's mine, this interests me, this doesn't interest me, what can I gain from this? It labels the whole world from this. Things have value from the moment they serve him, interest him. Outside of that, I don't know, and I don't want to know, and I'm angry at those who know. The mind meets the operator's desire when you are selfish. Your little self slavishly makes the mind work all the time to find ways to please and pamper this little self. If you shut up a little, selfishness can produce a silence. The mind will have nothing to do. It will be without love. It will acquire another love because it was born to serve. It will turn upwards and serve the flow of life passing through you, and the flow of life will bring all your tools to the surface. We'll use beauty, we'll use intelligence, we'll use imagination, we'll use creativity. The mind will not be ownerless. Either it serves the sky or it serves the earth. So, when it stops being tyrannized by the selfish, it turns upwards, and the flow of life passes through it, and it begins to reveal the beauty of life, reveal the implicit value of things, including your own. Whether through the lens of life, we begin to see the essence of things, but this, when you free the great slavery that is the mind serving a selfish personality, it doesn't see anything. It becomes tremendously narrow and limited in such a way that things go through our nose when they are not what we would like them to be. We don't see. It's curious. Everyone sees, except us. I don't see. Where is it? It's not what I want to see. I don't see. Sometimes we don't see people when they offer us no possibility of gain. It's not beautiful, attractive, young, rich, doesn't have a position. I don't see, absolute invisible, entered into a margin of invisibility. And that is the little self filtering our perceptions of life. Will not see much, evident. And in general, that's it. We get stranded, we don't see big things, so we limit our human potentials a lot. Then the flow of beauty passes through man, the flow of life, and he begins to see in depth, realize his potentials. It's not a matter of information or culture, it's a question of inner thirst, of necessity, to understand the meaning of life more deeply. So we already have this, and we have to invest in the development of this.
If you enjoyed the content, please hit the like button and subscribe for more. Your support means everything to us. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.